All right, so we're going to do a couple things, and we'll jump into the interview. Just kind of want to talk about a couple things. Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk just released an Indiegogo campaign 2 days ago for kind of an online video series they're going to do called Con Man, about a guy that goes to conventions and stuff like that. This is kind of amazing because it's only been online for 2 days, and they've already reached $1.5 million. Wow. I'm not surprised.
Look who they are, you know?
I know, it is Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk, but I mean, really, it's a comedy by these two guys, produced by us. So everyone run out there and go find it. It's Con Man under Indiegogo and support it. Check out our Facebook and Twitter page. The link's on there. They had some pretty cool goals, as well as perk options that you can buy in at, and most of them are gone now, just because a lot of people bought them. What I'm really amazed at is there's like some of these are up in like the thousands of dollars. Like, you know, you can pay $2,000 and you get a guest spot in one of their episodes. There's $5,000 options, $10,000. And then there's, of course, the top one, the $25,000. But all the smaller, like the $10,000, $5,000, $2,000, are gone. You can't even buy in at those options.
I like the name.
Wow.
Yeah, you get to name a character in the show. So, pretty awesome. I'm excited to see this. I'm a huge Nathan Fillion fan, but it will be amazing to see this.
Probably get an episode filmed at Salt Lake Comic-Con too, huh?
Hey, we could maybe. Both Alan and Nathan have been here, but yeah. They show up.
So name a character. What name would you put in it?
The Ginger. And it has to be a redhead. That would be a perfect character, would it not? That's all he's known as, the Ginger. That would work.
It'd be better if he wasn't a redhead.
Yeah.
Why are you called the Ginger? Yeah. Yeah. So, and then sad news: author Terry Pratchett died today, or passed away recently, either late last night or this morning. Sad news. For those of you that have read his books, you know why. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, I can't speak a big fancy eulogy. We'll just leave it that way. A friend of mine, we were talking about this. If 2015 keeps going this way, we're going to run out of stars and famous people. I mean, seriously. I know, by May. Yeah. But hey, maybe, that's just clearing out, the older generation, so some newer people can show up. Who knows?
Pulling of the herd.
Yeah. You have to get a little bit closer to the mic, sorry. But yeah. Well, I know, twice in the filming. I honestly, I just have to say, I don't think he wants to be Han Solo that bad.
No, he doesn't.
If he can't kill himself off in episode 5, he might as well do it in real life.
Yeah. I mean, I do like all the little the photo clips that have been coming out where instead of seeing seeing Harrison Ford on the stretcher, you see the carbonite Han Solo. There's been one where you see Boba Fett he's blurred, but then in the distance you see the airplane. Is like, I almost had you, Solo, soon. Just funny stuff like that. I mean, people have been really creative, but man, I mean, I know. Okay, he's pretty much out of Indiana Jones at this point. We're gonna get someone else, maybe Chris Pratt, which will be awesome, or Bradley Cooper. I'll be okay with that one. But there can't be anyone else for Han Solo. I don't care how old he is. We need Han Solo at least bowing out.
You weren't excited about the whole Zac Efron possibility coming down and
Nobody
swaying his hair, doing his swag walk?
No. Zac Efron, no.
Everyone say no.
Yeah, no.
I can accept Chris Pratt as Han Solo. If he's got the same flair to do Indiana Jones, I feel like he has the same sarcasm to do Han Solo.
Okay.
Young, obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, if he pulls off Indiana Jones, I think he can do it.
I think he could.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got the
I just
air about him.
It'll be his Star Wars resume. I'll wait.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's awesome as Star-Lord. I mean, I don't think anyone else could have pulled that character off any better. That's one of my favorite scenes from that movie. Is towards the very end when he's like dancing, doing his little song, and he's like, "Come on, bro, dance off!" Like, what the heck? You got this big alien guy with this massive hammer, and you want to dance off? So, yeah, no, it was awesome. So, all right, well, let's jump in. You guys have an awesome project that you've just completed.
It's mildly, insanely awesome.
It's on StarWars.com.
It is,
which is even more awesome because I can't even claim that. And so you guys are finalists, or what is it exactly?
We are the top 25, or in the top 25. So I don't know how many hundreds of entries went into the film festival, but there are 25 that stand as the dust settles, and we are one of those.
Nice.
And we'll find out how far we've gone in April.
Yeah.
Okay.
For people who don't know, we're talking about Star Wars Fan Film Awards.
Yes.
It's like a film festival that Lucasfilm puts on. It had been canceled for about 3 or 4 years, and they're finally bringing it back.
Well, we all know,
resurrecting it with everything else.
We kind of know why it disappeared now for a while. I mean, I'm sure they had to turn it down for the acquisition to go through and things like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that's awesome that it's back. Because you guys have had one kind of up before for voting, right?
This will be my third time entering the film festival, and it's always an awesome experience. You get to talk with people you never in a million years would think you existed. Dave Filoni is actually somebody that I run into quite frequently at the film festival, and he is an awesome guy, the director of Clone Wars and the new Rebels show, and you just get a lot of insight to your projects from the people who really matter and not the YouTube trolls and stuff like that. And it's been awesome. It's really fun. Great experience.
Nice. Now, so this is set in the Old Republic.
Yes.
Which obviously is awesome. Now, the main star of the show is who?
Well, she sits beside me, for number one. So I don't guess we didn't really introduce ourselves, but I'm Jared Seaich.
Yeah.
I am, the director of the Broken Souls project we're talking about, and then sitting beside me is
Jessica Smith, and I was the lead in the project.
Yes.
So the character that Jessica portrays, we wanted to save it for a while, but all of the fans guessed it immediately.
Yeah.
She will be playing Mitra Surik, who is the exile in the second game.
Nice.
And to set up the story a little bit, in the first game, obviously you're given all the choices and whether or not you become a Jedi or a Sith at the end, playing as, I don't know, spoiler alert if anyone's not playing it, but you get it. And towards the end of the movie, the end of the game, canon-wise, Revan becomes a Jedi. He runs away with Bastila, and they're happy forever. We wanted to give ourselves a little more breathing room so that fans couldn't stab us in our sleep and we could unbarricade the doors.
Yeah.
Well, as bad.
As bad.
Right.
We decided to go off an alternate universe in which Revan becomes the Sith Lord again.
Okay.
And he takes back power in the galaxy as Dark Lord of the Sith. And from there on, we kind of decided, okay, what would happen in the other game if Revan was still around?
Yeah.
And obviously Nihilus comes to power, the Trinity or whatever they're called comes to power, and we wanted to say, okay, well, there's not enough room in the galaxy for all these Sith.
Yeah.
Right.
And obviously Nihilus is something that's not good for the entire galaxy. So Revan takes it upon himself and the Sith Empire to stop this monster from eating the Force from everyone, including them.
Right, kind of anti-hero style, I guess.
It's Sith versus Sith epic showdown.
Yeah. So he's kind of basically the balance is under threat, and so
very nice.
We have to kind of bring back the balance again, and in doing so, well, we'll see what happens.
Nice. Well, and now the expanded universe has kind of been tossed out, and those are legends. So this actually works because this could just be another legend on top of that. Because the story arcs that's been created for Revan and all that, who knows if those are true or not? So that's pretty cool. So,
I love this story so much more. I've gotten to the point now, like since I've been doing so much research for the movie, that I actually like Revan's story even more than the original trilogy. Like it's such an it's such an amazing story. Like it's incredible, and just like the relationships and.
She loves Malik.
I do. I mean, their relationship is absolutely amazing. So
she thinks it's cute.
It's adorable. It's a bromance for the ages.
It was really cool. Then they came out with the Revan story. I don't know if you've read that book.
Not quite yet.
Completely ruined the character. Oh my God!
It's not going to happen. I'm not going to read it then.
Yeah, I would say skip it. Okay. I mean, I own it. I was so excited to see it because the Darth Bane books were really great. I'm like, oh, finally we get a book about Revan after Knights of the Old Republic. And it was such a disappointment.
It's been sitting in my Audibles folder for a while, and I'm just like, I don't know. I like the Revan the way the Revan is now.
Yeah, I mean, he goes after this dark Sith Empire that's floating out there that no one really knows about, and gets his butt kicked. And pretty much is stuck in this stasis through Sith alchemy and power that Revan technically isn't dead even now.
Well, that part's kind of cool to think about.
Well, I mean,
it comes back for the Old Republic expansion, which we haven't played yet because we don't want to mess around with what we're doing right now. But it's exciting to think he still exists. I will just say he's existed right after Knights of the Republic, where he's still equally as cool, and now he just
I was going to say our Revan kicks butt totally, like completely. Our Revan is really awesome. We did, and we wanted to because he's such an amazing character.
So, did you guys find it difficult to do the lightsaber battles? To do them justice enough to, because looking at the old 4, 5, and 6, the battles were for when we first saw them, they were cool, but then seeing episodes 1, 2, and 3 and how much more fluid the movement is with the lightsaber battles, were you able to kind of mimic that, or were you kind of more back towards the 4, 5, and 6?
I'd say we're a good middle ground.
Yeah, I would agree.
It was more about playing smart than playing hard when it came to Revan and Nihilus.
Okay.
We identified the different styles that they would use. We identified the different kinds of stances and everything like that. Mm-hmm. We did our proper research, and then we just had to find people that could move like that.
Right. Yeah.
And so, I mean, Revan, the battle sequences are pretty fluent. The action sequences are pretty quick. And I'd say our actors pulled it off pretty beautifully, actually. I have to give major props out to Abram Allred and David LaTimone, and obviously Jessica sitting beside me. The action turned out quite entertaining. When I was done with it, I was like, man, I wish I didn't make this so I can just watch it and enjoy it, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we were really lucky that David had the Nihilus costume, and also he was absolutely huge. And when the first night that we were doing choreography, we had Abram, who was Revan, and then David. And David had decided, we'd all kind of thought about it, but then when he first started, he started doing this one-handed, it's such a heavy-handed blow, and it was so perfect, and he pulled it off so well. And then, you have Revan, which is Abram, who is just moving around him in circles, really fast, and like the different styles, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is going to work. Like, they pull it off perfectly, and we couldn't have asked for someone better than those two to fit into the costume, A.
and to make it work.
Yeah, and to put that much hard work into something that, they volunteered to do it, and as volunteers, they were mind-blowing. Yeah, they worked so hard, and David has a family, and his wife just had a baby at that time, and so he had a lot going on, and but he did a really good job trying to balance everything and making it work, and he was really committed, and it definitely showed.
Yep.
So how long is Go ahead, Travis.
Did you find much of a challenge doing it out at the Salt Flats? I'm going to take it that's where you were looking at the trailer.
No, it was all a giant green screen.
I showed somebody at work, and he was just like, wow, that's the best green screen I've ever seen. I was like, you guys are in the Arctic and everything. Like, dude, no, it's the Salt Flats. He's from New York, so he thought we were in the Arctic. But anyway.
It's a pretty big challenge. I mean, I've shot there a couple times before, and, it's the most important thing is making sure you got all your stuff before you get there.
The light bouncing off the salt was probably the biggest problem for him, not having the filter.
Yeah, we had some problems containing the light properly, but ultimately they were all just things that we could handle. And luckily enough, we had some amazing gaffers and stuff like that with us, that when we did run into a problem, they were willing to get their butts in a car and drive an hour out into town to get us something if we needed it. And actually, Trenton Allred, Abe's brother, the guy who played Revan, was our amazing gaffer at the time. And it was very challenging, but it definitely paid off. The visuals are awesome.
And another thing is, we really lucked out. It was absolutely gorgeous. The temperature was perfect when we filmed. There wasn't water.
It was supposed to be flooded.
It was supposed to be flooded. We got there, and just the edges were flooded. As soon as we got out there, everything was perfect. And like I said, the weather could not have been better. It was just a slight chill, so when we were just moving around and being crazy, we were pretty warm. But it turned out really well. I think, the day.
What month were you filming it in?
What's that?
What month was it that you were out there?
In November, the beginning of November.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, we thought the wind was going to kill us, and we got out there, and it wasn't bad. The wind was...
We had originally decided to film it, I think, even before October.
Mm-hmm.
And once the news dropped about the Fan Film Awards coming back, we were like, now we can, rethink everything we're doing. We can rethink where we're going to shoot. We ultimately had to rewrite the whole movie because it was originally going to be like half an hour long.
Yeah, the script wasn't half an hour long, and it had some extremely it was a much larger scale. Like, we had wreckage and all that kind of stuff, and then we realized, okay, we don't have as much time to do this.
Well, and the limit was 5 minutes for
we
the short film, so we
cut
compressed
this down. We compressed the script, and we had to take out several characters that we really loved and were excited about. But then when we had everything finished, we were like, all right,
this is pretty
good.
So to be in the film festival, it can only be 5 minutes long.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
hard.
Compressing, going from a half hour to 5 minutes, that's tough.
Yeah.
It was really hard for us to step out of our comfort zone and say, we got to redo what we're thinking. I mean, ultimately, the story did come back to Revan needing to take down Nihilus. That was always the objective. But there were so many other characters surrounding the story that it just made it, that much sweeter when you finally got to the fight. However, I think we did a fairly good job of just kind of explaining where we are in the universe, what time has happened, all of the new events that have happened since the Old Republic ended, and we got straight to the fight, and that was the coolest thing to film, in my opinion.
Right, and I think a lot of things that we cut out were characters that we didn't end up using, that we really liked, but the development of those characters would have taken up, a little bit of time. But I think most of all, when we thought about this film and when he started writing it, we wanted it to be something that was more psychological as well. And the final cut, not in the one that we have in the festival now, the final cut that he's put together, in the end, it did turn out to be psychological. It was kind of a psychological journey. And so in the end, you got what you wanted. You got your psychological, yet action-packed Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes, how much time did it take to film that 5 minutes? And then how much time did it take to edit that 5 minutes?
We had a total of 3 days of shooting.
Okay.
In 3 different locations. One was just up in the mountains. And then obviously the Salt Flats was probably the longest. And then the third day we actually built a set inside a stage. I guess it's more of like an office space. But we rented it. Right. And we built our set in there for the spaceships. And there's a lot of scenes that you guys haven't seen in these cuts because we had to shorten it down to the 5 minutes for the festival.
Like Revan's little...
Revan has a chamber that we built a set for.
Nice.
And
but yeah, it's always good when you're making a movie to have a contractor friend.
Yeah, that helps a lot. But anyway, it took us, hours-wise, at least 30 hours to shoot it.
Right.
Probably upwards of 40. And then to edit it, I can't even begin to
what editing wasn't as big of a problem as, like, visual effects took way longer. And finding the music actually was surprisingly the longest part.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the 5 minute cut, they gave us, 3 or 4 songs? There wasn't much. There wasn't much music that they gave us that we were allowed to use. And we had put together this really amazing music with
original soundtrack.
Yeah, and then the night before we found out that we couldn't use that music. So he had to stay up, and it was like he only had a couple of hours to literally put in the new music that was required.
Well, not just that,
and that sound effects too.
Yeah, they gave us pretty much. Lucasfilm sent me a folder and they said, "This is all you're allowed to use."
Oh wow!
And I was like, well, we have Force Lightning and we have all these other effects that I have sound effects for, and you're telling me we can't use them? Like, no, you have to use what's in the folder. And I was like, okay, so I put all their sound effects in, and then I went and got original music for the score. And they changed the rules, I think, mid-November, but we just didn't notice. And they're like, now you have to use all the music that we provided too, and it was such bad music, terrible music.
Yeah.
But I mean, we made it work. The festival cut is still pretty fun.
Yeah,
but
it definitely
full cut
changed
so
the full
better.
mood of the film, I think.
Yeah.
It was a little darker, and now it's kind of a little more
quirky.
Yep.
So how do you do force lightning without the sound effects?
I actually went in and tweaked some of the sound effects. You would never believe.
Yeah,
the
you
kind of
manipulated the sounds.
For instance, one of them was a TIE fighter, I think,
Yeah.
shooting in its thrusters or something like that. And I went and manipulated the sound effects in my Adobe programs and kind of made it feel a little bit more like lightning. And when we put it in the cut, it worked, and we rolled with it. And that's basically all the sound effects were tweaked effects that they sent to me.
Wow.
He definitely thought outside the box when I came. He was like, oh, gosh, we got to just make this work. Let's think outside the box and get it done. And it worked.
So will you be releasing a cut after the festival that has everything that you originally wanted it?
We have been working vigorously on the master cut since we submitted the movie. And I got to tell you, I mean, for one, there's scenes in there that obviously are in the festival cut and additional characters in the final cut as well. Like, for instance, Bastila makes an appearance in the final cut that wasn't in the festival cut.
And she's important.
The visual effects took a huge step up because we had more time to do it.
Yeah.
And obviously all the sound and the music and everything is much better. So although I'm very happy with the festival cut that made it to Lucasfilm, I'm way excited to release the director's cut, I suppose, of the film, which comes out mid-April.
So right now they can vote for it, correct? Mm-hmm. So how long do they have to vote?
Until March, I think the end of the month.
Okay.
You know.
Where do they go to vote?
For one, you can go to StarWars.com.
Okay.
And there's a tab on there for the fan film festival at Celebration. That's where they're going to be hosting it.
Okay.
You can go to my website, SeachFilms.com, SEAICH Films.com, and that'll take you to the trailer of our video. And in the trailer, there's a button where you can vote. Okay. And that's probably the easiest way. You can, if you've got any doubts, you can watch the 1-minute trailer and be like, okay, I'll dedicate another 7 minutes of my life to go and watch it and vote. Yeah. But
just 5.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Yep. 5 minutes. 5 more minutes, folks.
5
minutes.
Yeah, but we were one of 3 from Utah to make it.
Really?
I don't know if you know Lucas.
Lucas, if you're listening, we're dropping some ad space for you right here. Lucas Millhouse put together a film called Stormtrooper Target Practice.
It's a comedy. And it also made it. And so, yeah, it's a really funny one as well. And I think there was one other one.
Alex Watson put together one called Journey of a Fan Film.
It's kind of more of a documentary. Yeah. So 3 different styles.
I'm actually interested in the Target Practice for the.
It's pretty funny. A lot of people we worked with before in it. And they're pretty funny.
Yeah.
Huh. It's really interesting to see how the culture for Star Wars has evolved. I mean, it pretty much is a culture now. I mean, there's a religion based on the Jedi Order now. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I'll be in that cult for a while.
Yeah.
Do it. But you
and
can't
then
have a woman.
you got the fan film stuff. Now that it's transitioned over to Disney, it seems like a lot more stuff is rolling out. I mean, we can get Hot Wheels now with Star Wars stuff on it, which you never got before.
Which my son has.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's really cool. So, do you see perhaps that this could be an entryway for directing an actual Star Wars movie?
Well,
to be honest, I know that expanded universe is myth or whatever, but I really hope, or legend, but I really hope that, I kind of hope they run out of stuff and they start, you know what, we're going to do this. You know what, we're going to start bringing this alive because that's kind of my hope that once they go through, because they've got all these TV series coming out with all these different characters and I'm hoping eventually they'll touch on that because
maybe they'll look in our direction someday. I mean, a lot of the times, every time I go to these this particular film festival, I think, okay, there's at least a dozen people in here looking for talent.
Yeah,
right.
It's like being a football player at the NFL Combine. You're like you're waiting for someone to notice you, and every year somebody does, and it's very exciting. You don't know what's going to happen. I always cross my fingers that I end up with an opportunity to work with Lucasfilm, or I guess now Disney, and who knows what could happen. I actually got offered an internship at Lucasfilm when they were still in San Francisco when I was done with the last Knights of the Republic film that I did.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, life and everything else got in the way, and I still tear my eyeballs at night in regret. But who knows what else the future has in store? Because now you have a relationship with these people.
Yeah.
You see him constantly enough that they'll remember. Oh, that's the guy.
And they remember him too when they see him, which is really cool. And so I think eventually, he's going to keep building this, and one day someone's going to go, okay, this is his life. He's not going to let this go.
That's how Dave Filoni got in.
You know what I mean? Might as well bring him in.
Well, I mean, just looking at J.J. Abrams, he's a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And now he's directing.
He was on the other side. He was on the Star Trek side for a little bit.
Well,
they pulled him over.
But he originally didn't want to do Star Trek because he was such a Star Wars fan. And that's why we have really cool Star Trek, because he did it Star Wars style. Exactly it really is that way, because I was not a Star Trek fan, but I love those two movies.
Yeah. They're amazing.
And that's that's why he's not doing the next Star Trek, because he can't balance the two, and I don't think they wanted him anyways. But and then they're pulling other directors for some of these other projects where there's going to be the standalone Boba Fett one, the young Han Solo.
Rogue One.
There's the Rogue One that is dropped today. There's rumor of a Yoda one, which would be really cool if we see where Yoda's from, because that's been a hidden secret forever.
They're doing animation on that, right?
No, I don't think that one's an animate. These are all live action ones.
Wow.
So
That's for me to imagine.
And this is just one small pocket of time in the entire Star Wars universe. I mean, there's Cade Skywalker many years later, or there's the entire Knights of the Old Republic era and beyond. I mean, Disney they bought this for a reason. I'd have to think, because they can go anywhere with this universe. Yeah,
it's literally.
I mean, it's the same reason they bought Marvel.
Yeah,
it's vast. It appeals to guys. It does appeal to women, but more they're focusing on the guys. I would assume, just because they've had Hannah Montana and all those younger girl TV series, and now this is something that boys can jump on too. So
yeah,
it's hard to think though. You're putting a bunch of muscly men in latex suits and saying you're just focusing on guys, though.
She brought up a point when we were doing our first draft of the film. She's like, you need more women in this. And in the original screenplay, we did have Visas Mar, the blind Sith from the second game, and I was excited to bring on these female characters, and a lot of them are really cool. And ultimately, the fans, just in the trailer so far, have responded so well to Mitra. It's brought in a new audience, which we're excited about. Yeah,
and I think women enjoy seeing that side as well. I mean, yes, men enjoy seeing women in film.
That's the reason why we're going to win.
No, but I mean, when he first started, it was kind of just men in a lot of his fan films, and now he started to bring women in, and men respond to this.
I will admit, most of the reason that most women went to see Captain America and Thor is because you saw Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans with no shirt on, super muscly, and most women just kind of went, and then they got hooked on the story.
Right.
And I think, with Star Wars, it's something that's universal. Kids, women, men, everyone loves it. And it has a great story. It's fun. It's action-packed. You got the romance going. It kind of has a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I do agree that it is really fun seeing a really strong female lead.
Right, and if you think about Captain America and all of those things, it's true. You have this strong female lead, and that's kind of the way this country is going right now. Women want to see strong women.
Yeah.
And so they kind of gravitate towards that. It's not damsel in distress anymore. That's so over.
I think even guys gravitate towards that. They really like seeing that because, and I know early science fiction, you had the damsel in distress. You had the guy that always saved the female.
Right.
I think we're all kind of
past that,
and women aren't that way. They're not helpless.
Nope.
And
when I was a kid, the first time I saw Aliens, and I saw Ripley just take charge and kick some major butt, I was in. I was like, let's do it. Bring on the chicks, man.
Well, then you go to Aliens 2, and she ups the ante even more.
Right.
So, kind of sidetrack. What is your opinion of the announcement they said, because they're making another Aliens movie, but they're tossing 3 and 4 out?
Huge support.
I'm okay with this.
Okay.
For one, I love Neil Blomkamp. I will seriously follow him into the dark and take a bullet.
Yep.
I think it's a very brave decision to say, the films that the fans didn't really respond to, let's give the fans what the fans are asking for.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the fan redo.
Yeah, and it's just such a ballsy move, and I think I'm props to Neil for doing it. It shows that he's a true fan of the franchise as well.
Okay.
If he's able to accept that this is what he wants to do, and I'm just stoked to see it.
Right.
So
AU in parallel is kind of making a big comeback right now, and I think it's important. Well, we didn't do it right that time. Let's do it right this time.
Well, I mean, are we going to see, heaven forbid, but are we going to kind of have some fans kind of reject it, much like we did with Superman Returns?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how the film's going to, be produced and how well the final result's going to be. But the fact is, I think they've taken a huge step in the right direction for the franchise. And then it's just in Neil's hands. Hopefully it's better than Chappie.
I haven't seen that one yet. I haven't heard good things about it, though. Oh, well. Okay, well, good to know. So now let's kind of move back to Disney and Star Wars. Do you think this is a good step, with what they're planning? I mean, because Star Wars has kind of been very, I would have to say, held in an iron grip, really. And so now Disney owns it. We're finding out all these movies are coming out. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Your guys' opinion.
I feel like it's, at some points, I'm worried it's going to be kind of an overload and people are it's not going to be as special, I guess, and unique as it once was. But selfishly, I'm super excited about, all the, like Boba Fett, like all of the different little things coming out, because I feel like I've wanted to know more about these characters.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to use, I guess, logic in your imagination, which is a funny thing to put together to try to figure the stories out yourself. But I'm selfish.
I think to keep Star Wars going, it is definitely the best decision they could have made. Because number one, a couple years ago, Episode 7 was just it'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
We can hope. And then when the news dropped, everyone, old fans, new fans, everyone got excited.
Yeah.
So based on that response, it's a very good thing. And if it doesn't test, or if it doesn't respond very well to the already existing fans from, the fans of the originals and even the prequels, that's sad, but there's a whole new generation of people that will probably respect it a lot more, and it'll draw them into the fandom as well. So I think no matter what happens, you're going to have a huge group of people and a lot of new people interested in Star Wars. Just like you were saying about Star Trek. I mean, my mother was a huge Star Trek fan my whole life, and I never really responded.
It's a little dry for me.
Yeah, it's the same way. My parents were huge Trekkies, or Trekkers, whatever the term is now. And, I had seen every single one, so much that I knew that the second one was almost a flip of Wrath of Khan. But, it was, I couldn't get into those. But I loved Star Wars. And then watching those, was like, this is fun.
Yeah.
But, even if people don't respond to the new movies, just like they did with 1, 2, and 3, they're still Star Wars fans. They're still going to love the original ones and reminisce. And let's face it, even though we don't like Episode 1 and Jar Jar Binks, we still watch Episode 1 and still watch Jar Jar Binks making a fool of himself.
Yeah, I was going to say, people have been complaining about Episode 1 through 3 for, like, the last, 15 years.
Yeah.
Or, not last, well, yeah. I mean,
almost been that long,
It's been 15 years. But they still absolutely love the original trilogy. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to...
It's invincible. There's nothing you can do to tarnish the original trilogy,
I'm sorry.
no matter what happens.
Can I just say I was skeptical about Rebels, and I started watching it, and it's like, I love that show. It's so good. I mean, like, if they can do that... I mean, I actually am going to admit I haven't seen Clone Wars. I haven't seen that show. But
that's okay.
But...
a much better Anakin.
A much better, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because Anakin's pretty
whiny.
Insufferable. Yep. But no, like Rebels, I started watching it. We actually saw when they announced it and all the premieres and stuff, and we were at Disney World. We happened to be there on Star Wars Day, and we were like, oh, he was amazing. It was really cool. And then I was like, well, let's see how this goes. Started watching. He started watching it without me because he didn't think I would like it, and I started getting really furious. But I sat down. We literally watched it in one day, the whole thing. And it's so funny. The kids love it. The adults love it. Like, if Disney can do this with Star Wars and continue to give that kind of quality, story, comedy, just everything about it, I think, this is great for Star Wars.
Definitely figured out the formula.
They have figured out the formula.
Even if you look at Marvel.
Even if it's not their formula. Even if it's Marvel, even if, you know what I mean, the formula is there, the comedy.
Well, they found a way to make blockbuster movies no matter what character they're given. I mean, when I first heard of Thor, I've never been the biggest Thor fan. I was like, it'll be okay. Well, I stepped out of the cinema. I was like, this was awesome.
We'll even go with Iron Man. Iron Man has never been a very popular character because, let's face it, he's a he's a drunken playboy that sleeps around.
Kind of a jerk.
Yeah, and he's a jerk. But everyone loves the Iron Man movies.
He's a superstar now.
Yeah.
And they have figured out the formula to do that with pretty much anything. And so if they stick to all the magic that makes the movies incredible again, because it's been a dry time for cinema in the past 20 years, it seems like now they're starting to wake up, and I'm so excited that Star Wars gets to be a part of that time.
Right. I think actually the formula, and I hate to say it again, but anti-heroes and imperfect heroes have been the biggest thing. Seeing these heroes make these mistakes, kind of being jerks, doing things, being more human, being funny. I think that's been the big, even like Maleficent. It was a huge hit.
Yeah.
And it was because she wasn't all good, she wasn't all bad. She was more. They're making everyone more human. And
well, it's a character that we can relate to.
Right. I could never be that good.
But
I could be that good.
I mean, how many of us could can sympathize or compare ourselves to Steve Rogers before he gets the serum? He's the weak little kid that gets picked, or a guy that gets picked on all the time, but he still has a heart of gold and still faces everything. And I think one of the really cool defining moments of that movie is where that general is just constantly ragging him, and he grabs a grenade and throws it out there and says, "Grenade."
He jumps on it.
And all the big burly guys run like sissies, and he jumps on top of it. And then,
and surprisingly enough, as cheesy it is, that's a really moving part of the movie when you realize how incredible of a person he is.
Yeah.
And so another one, Loki. I mean, like, they really hit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they hit that one out of the park. It's Loki, but 5 minutes later, every girl on this planet is in love with him, and every guy can say, "Yeah, I felt like that." You know what I mean? I know what that feels like to be that guy,
to be the jerk, and or
to be jealous,
or be the jealous brother,
jealous younger brother.
Yeah, I think they've really found the humanity in the comics and the characters.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So the question kind of comes back with Star Wars. We don't really have a lot of humor like we see with the comic book movies. Is it but we do see it in like Rebels or Clone Wars. Is that something that they should put in, or is this something that they need to kind of monitor and put in at the right moments?
What Abrams did with Star Trek, it was perfect. It was dark, it was actiony, it was intense, but here and there were these flares of humor that really brought us back down to earth with those characters.
And relieved the tension a bit.
More humor, or if there was better humor. I mean, Captain Kirk, he said something he thought was funny every once in a while, but in this one, it was actually funny. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if the amount of jokes changed or if they were just better and more appropriately timed.
It helps you better invest yourself with the characters.
Yeah, and I think, it doesn't need to be, I don't know. I really liked Guardians a lot, and that might be too much humor for Star Wars, but I think there's a balance, like in between, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But they do need to add a little bit more humor in there.
Knowing Abrams, it'll be very dark.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot like Star Trek, and I'm totally okay with that.
Well, more like the second one than the first one, I think.
I would really like to see, because the story of Star Wars is kind of a dark and light story. There's moments where the light prevails and it's good, but most of the time the Sith bring it really down, and there's a lot of dark themes going on. I would like to really see the nitty-gritty Star Wars, that I've read in the Expanded Universe books. So that'd be really cool to see.
Just watch our movies.
Pretty So, with doing your movie, was there any point in time where you had to create something? You probably don't have droids in there, but create a unique lightsaber or a unique... it sounds like Revan has a chamber. So what is the chamber?
It's his throne, pretty much.
Okay.
He it's a very short scene, but it's very important to set up the story.
Yeah.
You know, it shows that, he stepped into power, he's in charge, but he's not technically in power. You know, as long as Nihilus is walking around, things are, in danger. And we had to create, with the small budget that we had, we, did our best. But when we saw it in post, we're like, man, that looked really cool. We had to build
a lot better than we thought it would.
Yeah.
We had to build the throne chair, which was probably the hardest part. We had to go buy drywall, make it look like metal, and then put the big old, flags and stuff down and just make it look very imperial.
Right.
But it was also very dark. So we spun it in a way in our favor.
It was very important to have the throne area for him and to kind of, have Bastila by his side, because that's kind of what people expect.
Yeah.
They expect Bastila by his side, and they kind of expect Mitra to, be the commander and do the dirty work kind of thing. And so it turned out to be, I think, a very powerful visual.
Yeah.
To see
when you think about the relationships, that's what makes it special for me. Because, I don't know how many people are familiar with Knights of the Republic, but Mitra did work with Revan a ways back.
Yeah.
She was a general.
One of his generals.
Yeah.
And she was outcasted, and then Revan...
And she ignited the shadow generator, if I remember right.
Yeah, on Mandalore. And, there was so much that happened between her and Revan that when we brought back that character Mitra to the time after what we're familiar with, it was like, wow, that relationship has already had time to develop. But in that time, new relationships have been made.
Yeah.
And so having her come back while Revan is with Bastila was really hard for Mitra, because she had a really close relationship with Revan as well. And we make it work, but there was a lot of tension, especially visually.
And there's not as much tension in the film, but I remember the original screenplay, there was a little bit more,
competitive.
But he was like, we can't make this like a triangle.
Yeah.
Keep the Twilight out of it and have a Star Wars movie. But yeah, I thought it was a really cool aspect too, because when we started writing everything, I just walked in one day and I was like, I'm pretty sure that these two women, knowing women,
they're going to butt heads.
Yeah, well, one of them wants to be his favorite, and who's going to be his favorite? The general, or and eventually he marries Bastila in the light side, right? When he's a Jedi,
and they have a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our version takes place immediately after the end of the last game, so all of that relationship stuff, we haven't quite put a concrete, definition on it, but it is very clear that Mitra and Bastila don't like each other.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. It really would. Say women can get catty when there's a guy involved. Guys can be the same way when two guys are competing for a woman's affection.
Yeah.
It's just kind of human nature, but throwing Jedi powers, that can just get crazy.
Yeah. Throwing Jedi powers is not good.
So, that would actually be an interesting fight to actually put into a movie.
That's what I said.
The original screenplay got a lot more scrappy with the other characters in this one, but
But when you have 5 minutes, you can't throw that type of stuff.
Yeah, when you put those three on the battlefield together and things get bad, it was exciting to see which person he went to.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
To protect.
Although, we will always be sad that we couldn't make the big, long version that we wanted to. When we were done, who knows what will happen, but when we were done and we stepped back and we looked at the film that we had produced in its entirety, we felt we got everything we wanted across.
Yeah,
and it is beautiful.
Every point that we wanted to get across happened. And so, fortunately enough, as much as we wrote, we could do 3 or 4 films. 3 or 4 7-minute films on what we have. And so, I want to visit this area again. He wants to do something else. He wants to do something else.
That's what I said on this show
film.
a couple years ago, that I'm stepping away from Knights of the Republic for several years.
Well, now he's got me hooked, so that's a problem.
And you're back.
And we're back.
And we'll be back again. I don't care what he says. I love it. I love these characters, even if Mitra's not a part of it. I love these characters.
We really thought about adopting ourselves to be the Knights of the Republic film people.
Yeah,
I mean that would be cool.
It would be awesome, and I know that he does. We love Revan. We love the whole Knights of the Old Republic, and I think that we respect it a lot. And I think we're the right people to do it.
Disney, pay attention. Hey,
you hear that, Michael Eisner?
Yes.
I know you're listening.
I mean, this would be really cool. If you guys can pull off a win, and and they come to you and say, "Hey, we really like the Knights of the Old Republic idea. We want you to film it." Would you do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, tomorrow. Let's do it.
Again, there's that perspective of I'd be sad I couldn't sit back and watch it and enjoy it, but if this is the only way to get these characters on screen, I will totally take that upon ourselves. Like, that is, it is such a cool undiscovered era for a lot of Star Wars people, fans. And, I mean, the Old Republic, even that game, for me, it was just the characters, all of the formula from the first games all came back, and you feel all the same things, and it's so powerful that it just adds so much to the universe, and we're very honored that we've been able to take these characters and actually bring some notice to them for these films. So.
It's like a period piece for Star Wars.
And that's kind of your ultimate goal, is to get into making films, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and besides this, you've had other stuff. You had Blood Gulch, if I remember, or did I say that
I would
wrong?
love to work on Blood Gulch, but Bloodshot Rock.
Bloodshot Rock, that's right.
Black Blood.
And Black Blood.
We've done a lot of some bloody things.
Yeah.
And Creature, our creature film.
Yeah, we've done a lot since the last time we've been on the show,
and
it's been a lot of fun. But I find myself every time I want to do a Star Wars movie, it's so easy to do because we have so much support. From every direction we look in. It's like, you guys need money, boom, there's the money. You guys need space, here's the space. It's just so much love for the franchise.
Well, that's really cool.
It brings everybody closer together.
Right. And we have a really
amazing
lot of crew, and they all love Star Wars just as much as we do. So.
And there's the 501st and a lot of cosplayers, so you probably save money on costuming because they already have it.
That's our huge moneymaker there, is costumes. And
you're not supposed to tell everybody that.
That's a trade secret.
No, but it's true. Like, it helps out so much. I mean, our budget...
I don't know if I want to say it on air.
Multiplies.
You don't have to say the budget.
No,
but
I'm sure that multiplies when we have these friends that are like, "Hey, I made this costume. I would love to put it in front of a camera." And I worked so hard.
Yeah, because you don't have to spend the money on that costume. Now it can go somewhere else.
Only a couple $1,000s a costume.
Yeah.
Which is more than our
budget.
Which
Revan was yours. Revan was your costume, and you worked very hard to make that costume.
I had a Nihilist costume too, but I liked David so much better.
Yeah.
And he fit it perfectly.
Yeah, but that Nihilist mask that you had came in handy later. So.
Yeah.
So how tall is David that played Nihilist?
Probably 6'5".
Wow.
He's pretty tall.
Yeah.
Maybe even taller than that.
I'm 6 foot, and he was quite a bit taller than me.
Maybe even 6'7". I don't know. He was very tall.
That's a very imposing Sith.
Well, when you put him next to Revan, who we got the right size for, he was like 5'10", 5'10", like that. And you put him next to Nihilist, it's like, he's got his work cut out for him if he's going to come out alive.
Yeah.
And the choreography came out beautifully in that aspect. Just having the size difference be accurate really made it genuine.
Yeah, I was
authentic.
terrified to do the project because I was so tall, and I was like, I don't know, I'm so big, it's going to look weird fighting these Sith, being so much bigger than them. And he was like, no, you haven't met David. You're good. And then I saw him, and I was like, oh, I feel really tiny right now.
We felt like we had our own Darth Vader on set.
Yeah, I felt super tiny.
Wow.
Yeah, he's very daunting. Force to be reckoned with.
So this goes till the end of March, and then Celebration is
April 16th.
April 16th is when the festival will be taking place, and that's when we'll know the results of the film festival. And I don't know if the voting does end at the end of March. I actually think it does go a week into April or something like that. But we'll send you guys all the details.
I will look it up right now.
There we go.
Because I can. So Star Wars.
But yeah, we're super excited. I mean, I hope that we do well, but if we don't, I'm incredibly excited to go to Celebration. When we started dating, Celebration had already ended. They had announced, or it had 1 year. It was the last year of it, I think.
Yeah.
And then it was done, and he was so upset, and I was upset because I had never even had a chance to go, and then it started, and I'm just incredibly excited to go to Celebration.
Hey, look at that. There it is.
Yeah, no matter what happens, we're just happy to be there.
On the main page, and there's your face, and there's your name.
Hello.
They've actually got quite a few here. Oh, wow. All right, so official rules. Let me pull this up. I think they've got cartoons. They've got some little kid.
Every genre you can think of is on there for Star Wars. There's a lot of talented filmmakers.
Yeah.
Stop animation.
I think
Flash
we're one
animation.
of like 3 serious movies actually out of the whole 25. I think
there's
we're
a
one
lot
of 3.
of comedies and a lot of cartoons or animation.
Lucasfilm really likes their heartfelt, tributes to the fans and their fandom, and
they have good fans, so they should.
We decided to cut someone's head off.
Yep.
And we'll see how we do.
You cut someone's head off.
Well.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Voting. Sorry, it wasn't on that main page. I got to find another side page. There it is. Wow, great.
When you guys
audio.
were writing this all out, with fans as religious as they are about this, was it scary kind of putting this story together and hoping you got it right?
Well, this isn't our first Star Wars film by a long shot. I've done, I think, 3 or 4 of them, including this one, and every single time you're going to get criticism that you're not too happy with, and there's always room to improve. I mean, personally, as a filmmaker and professionally, you take what you need to improve and then overlook the rest. When we were writing it, we were like, okay, so we don't want to run into the same stuff, half because we don't want the bad comments, and the other half because we want to, not disrespect the canon that's already been put together, the legends now, I suppose. And so that's why we took the direction we did. We call it the J.J. Abrams effect, where it's a completely different, existence, a completely different universe alternate. And we were able to do whatever we wanted with it, just so as long as we followed the guidelines of what had happened before. And it was very liberating and exciting.
And the character's personality, I think, so that you believe if they were in that situation, that's how they would respond. I think that's probably the most important thing. Because, anytime anyone has a problem, we can just say, it's parallel. It's not.
The very first thing you'll see in the director's cut is that this is an alternate story based off the alternate ending of Knights of the Old Republic, the first game. Everything after that, including events that took place in Knights of the Old Republic 2, has been rewritten to accommodate this new storyline.
And then in big letters, so shut your mouth. I wish. Yeah, trolls. The first one that you did, or the last one that you did, Shadows. What was the game? The new game came out, or some book or something came out.
The Revan book came out.
Yeah, right afterwards. And so everything that he had put in there was now not accurate at all anymore. And so that kind of
it's always scary, but the people that really enjoy it and appreciate it, those are the people that you make the film for anyway.
Right, the people that like to have fun and not be angry.
So it looks like it is till the end of March.
Awesome.
Till the end of March. Oh.
Yep. We're pretty excited.
10 minutes of that to find out information that we already knew.
So we'll have 5 minutes of dead space in the show while y'all are voting. And
also Googling with us. You could have Googled
Googling, and you guys probably Googled faster than I did. So, so this is really exciting for you guys. This is out. Hopefully you win. Everyone out there, vote for it.
The official release date of the director's cut will be April 17th.
Hey, that's my daughter's birthday.
There you go. I made it just for your daughter.
Yeah, and her middle name is Hope, so it's kind of it works.
It does work.
Yeah.
We'll be dedicating it to Hope.
No, that's an awesome day. So that would be pretty cool that it comes out.
Yeah. We wanted to have the results of the film festival and the description and everything before everyone saw it, and it's pretty much done. The director's cut's pretty much done. You're going to be able to see it. When we send you a link. I was supposed to bring a DVD, but it's pretty awesome.
DVD. I like a DVD. Yeah. I can play it on my TV and with my surround sound system.
There you go.
That would be even cooler.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. The sound is great, though.
I'm sorry. That is my favorite thing in the world to do, is to sit down, put my Star Wars DVD in, close it, turn up the surround sound, and get that, the very beginning, and then, especially like episode 2 and 3, I love the
sound design.
The sound design on the star battles. It just going all bouncing around me, and especially that one scene where he's going after Jango Fett and he launches those weird grenades and just goes boing. That is the coolest sound. I just sit there and let it radiate through my chest. I'm just like,
funny. I was just thinking about that when you were talking about your channel. I'm like, that's my most favorite sound in the whole
And even now, so many years later, I just wait, and it's like, that was satisfying. I don't have to watch the rest of the movie. That's cool.
All right, turn it off. Let's go to bed.
Yeah. But no, I think Star Wars is something that will never go away. I mean, all of us have had that moment. The very first time sitting down watching, the door opens and Darth Vader steps in, Imperial March goes off, and you just go, oh, that's awesome.
No matter what generation you're in.
Oh, no, yeah.
It'll always have the same effect.
Yeah, and I can't, even my kids, they're running around with Darth Vader, and it's like, no, they're not playing with Luke, it's Darth Vader.
Well, even kids that grow up with all the new flashy effects and all the big blockbuster movies today, they can sit and watch a movie from the 70s and be just as, if not more, excited to watch. Like, it's incredible to watch.
Yeah, my son, who is 5, when he was 4, he would watch the original trilogy over and over and over and over
again. It's amazing. I love it.
But the new one, nope. Yeah.
There are some issues with the new ones.
I don't know if it's those issues.
Hayden Christensen.
He just loves the character. He just loves the original character so much more. He loves Han Solo.
Yeah,
he actually likes Luke a lot,
those are really great characters, and I honestly feel that 1, 2, and 3 could have been so much better if we would have gotten a much better Anakin. I mean, the Anakin that we see in the Clone Wars series, amazing. He's confident. He's strong. If there's something he doesn't agree with, he goes ahead and does it anyways, and kind of says sorry later.
Right.
But then we see the Anakin in the movies, and he's whiny and he's complaining, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't understand where this Anakin comes from. Where he goes from.
You believe that this man is to rule an empire.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like watching Joffrey take power.
Yeah. And I had so much pleasure watching that kid die.
Who did it?
I think everyone was just like, yes, it's finally happening.
I know. There was riots on the street. There were parades.
I don't know if you saw this article. And you guys, Savart and Scotty, you can chime in too. There was an article that someone wrote where, because it's kind of been rumored that Padme died of a broken heart.
I saw this article.
But the article actually is written that Padme didn't die of that. That because the robots can't detect the Force. Everyone has the Force, and she was literally dying. They're like, we don't know. But there's a key moment where we hear that Sidious or Palpatine is talking about his master learned how to cheat death by creating life and taking life. That actually Sidious was draining Padme of her life force or the Force, and then feeding it into to heal Anakin. Your thoughts on that?
We had.
I like that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
When we were writing Broken Souls, because Nihilus, that's the whole point of Nihilus, is that he drains the Force energy out of his victim.
Yeah.
And, although he didn't put him in anything else, we're like, so the Force has so much power and influence on living beings that completely plausible that that's what happened. And I love that. It makes episode 3 even better for me thinking that.
Well, no, I completely agree. When I read this, I'm like, that is so much more awesome because she died of a broken heart. I mean, I understand that happens, but
it's lame.
It's lame. It's really lame. I mean, and that also gives another explanation of why Anakin's like, but I felt her, and I could still feel her up to that point where he stands up, and he's like, I can't feel her anymore. What's happened? Right. So it's so much more plausible that, and that's why Sidious would have that grin he had, because he knew he now had power over Anakin or Vader, because Padme was probably the one thing that could have, even in the suit, and that could have turned him back. Which later on we find that's what Luke was able to do. That family connection. It makes it so much more awesome.
Disney should step forward and say, hey, so we read this thing online, and it's pretty cool, and now that's what it is.
Yeah, that's now canon.
Episode 3 on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Puts a whole new form of evil into it.
Oh, it does.
It's awesome.
And it puts another level of nastiness upon Sidious. So, one more question then, kind of going back with the whole Star Wars thing. What is your opinion about putting Hayden Christensen in at the very end of the Jedi as the Force
if we could
spirit.
get an outside perspective of my house, there was a TV flying through the window and rage just all about inside. It was so insulting.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just
it was inappropriate. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Inappropriate, I think, is the better word.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's why I have not gone out to buy it on Blu-ray or anything like that, because I have the original DVD set before they made that change, and I refuse to go get the new one because
they tamper way too much with them.
Yeah, that's the one thing. If anything, you know, I know Lucas was trying to get something really cool, but I think that was the wrong move because he came back to the light as an older guy.
That would have been much better.
And that was suitable. I mean, that made more sense than going back, oh, well, this is when he was truly a Jedi, so that's what he looks like. That was just stupid,
it was
in my opinion.
It was a selfish decision that actually messed with the storytelling.
Yeah.
And even that infuriated me to no end. But the biggest thing in the Blu-ray cuts that really ticked me off was added the line "No" with Darth Vader as he's stepping up to defeat the Emperor.
Yeah.
In the original cut, Vader doesn't have to say a thing. He's a man wearing a mask, and yet you can feel the conflict and his decision to step back in the light and make this it was so powerful. And Lucas just completely destroyed the subtlety of it.
Yeah, trying to spoon feed everybody.
Yeah. Well, that scene you're talking about is amazing because you just see the lights reflecting off of his mask. That's all you see. You really don't see the lightsaber battle going on between, or not the lightsaber, the lightning. You're seeing some of it, but that is one of the pinnacle moments
of the whole story.
He doesn't need to say anything in any way, shape, or form because it's like, my son, my master.
Right.
And then he makes that final fateful decision, which, ultimately ends his life, but at the same time saves his son.
You're right. The
no,
whole trilogy comes down to that moment.
That moment, yeah.
Don't touch it.
Well, we can even go all 6 movies, really. Everything boils down to that moment. And, Episode 7, I know there's rumors that this is kind of the goodbye to, Luke, Han, and Leia, which is a good idea, because we're moving forward. Those guys are getting older. Obviously,
Harrison might not make it to Episode 8.
We can't promise that Harrison will make it to Episode 8, especially if he's flying into golf courses. But I see it as a really good point to say goodbye to the old cast and move forward, so we can get new stories.
I mean, like they did with Leonard Nimoy in Star Trek.
Yeah.
There was just a little bit of him, but it was enough to make all the fans go, you know what I mean?
JJ knows what he's
doing. Connect the story. Connect the old, the new.
Well, and
bring a marriage.
I do like that he went to the alternate timeline because that's the only way he could do it without getting every single Star Trek fan completely going ballistic on him. You can't.
We hope that works for us.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, in Star Wars, there isn't a plausible way to do that like there was in Star Trek. But there's still a way to say, okay, these guys are going on. We're moving on with these characters. Let's move forward.
I think it's a great decision.
Yeah. And and they can still use Ben Skywalker if they decide to keep that name, or the Solo twins. I don't know how far in advance they're going in the timeline. The Dark Empire, does that storyline even exist? Does the Tron trilogy even exist? It would be interesting to see what they enter in. And then, even with that said, going back in time, seeing the Knights of the Old Republic would be really awesome because that's one of my favorite eras of all in the Star Wars universe because it's amazing.
Yeah.
The Starforge is amazing. It just doesn't make any sense how we have these really cool technological advancements going on during the Old Republic, and then we get to, the time of Luke and all that, and
nothing's really changed.
Nothing's changed. I mean, really, we got a few different designs and ships, and the droids look a little bit rounder or shinier, but it's still the same type of stuff.
Yeah, I felt like there was much better technology in episodes 1 through 3 than there was.
Well,
obviously, but
and I know, and Lucas has kind of explained that it's because all the really cool shiny stuff the Empire hoarded, and so the rebels had to go with the junk, so that's why we had kind of clunky stuff. But even then, TIE fighters weren't that cool. I mean, come on, Yeah, they had cooler type ships flying around in 1 and 2 and 3. So.
He's looking at me because I'm an X-Wing miniatures player. And
he loves the TIE fighters.
I like TIE fighters.
They have Dash Rendar ships out there. I need to go buy it.
Yeah, Decimator.
The Decimator's out there too. My only problem is Armada's out now, and
she doesn't even know about that. We'll chat after the show.
Space and ground units.
I just bought him a ship. I think he's okay for at least a couple of weeks.
The Armada is basically like X-Wing, but with the giant ships. Yeah, so, the Star Destroyers, the Super Star Destroyers.
Daniel, see that look she's giving me?
Yeah.
You just got me in so much trouble right now.
Sorry.
My gosh, these expensive hobbies.
Hey, there's more expensive stuff out there.
I know.
Magic the Gathering.
I was looking.
for everyone who doesn't know, listening to the show, I am engaged to Mitra Surik.
Yes.
So you can all suck on that.
Yeah.
He loves X-Wing, and I support him.
All I can say is there could be a lot worse habits. I mean, honestly.
Yeah,
there could be other things.
Exactly.
He could be addicted to that. Instead, he's addicted to X-Wing.
I switched for you, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks, babe. Now there's ships all over the house instead of crazy people with doorknobs and light bulbs.
People think those are cool. People walk into our apartment, and the first thing they see is the huge statue of Revan that we put the costume on.
Yeah, we have.
Like, what is that?
And we have a stormtrooper statue. Like, we have bought mannequins, and we put all these amazing costumes that he's made on the mannequins. And
I need to talk to you where you guys bought these mannequins. So, yeah. Halloween was one of my... Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I had a lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
We bought them.
All right. Yeah. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. And I need mannequins because I like things moving, and there is nothing more amazing of a feeling than having little children run screaming from your home after they've collected candy from your door. And then they come back because they want to scream some more.
Yeah.
So I
like, what was that? I want to see it again.
I like doing scary stuff. But that is awesome. I would love having a stormtrooper or even Darth Vader or
stand
Vader.
there and watches TV with us.
That's okay. It can just stand there all the time.
Hank the stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always around.
Hank's a very good member of the family. He doesn't make a mess or talk back. We like him.
Even better.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me right now?
Because apparently you make a mess.
Oh,
and you talk back.
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
It's not okay.
Okay, so since you are engaged, I will give you the secret. This is the best thing to ever say is, yes, dear. It always earns you brownie points. And you can never go wrong.
Oh, his eyes just glazed over a little bit.
I just try to make it nerdy in some way. Every time you sit, I'll kneel down and as you wish.
As you wish, that works.
Master.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get kicked in the face.
Oh.
No, he always makes it nerdy, and it's so cute. I can't be mad.
There you go.
It's adorable.
It's perfect.
He's lucky he's a nerd. He gets away with a lot more.
Hey, at least you found someone that loves that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helps that she's hot.
There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Something ever happens to my face, I'm not going to make it out there for long yet.
Hey, come on. Just look at Mark Hamill. He survived something happened to his face.
I will say that I don't ever want to be compared to Mark Hamill. Ever. What a horrible thing to say.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
He
did
survived.
Make Sushi Girl, right?
He did.
Yeah.
And he's the Joker.
Yeah, you could go on to voice Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
maybe.
when your face is gone, you can just do voiceovers. That's perfect.
We are doing radio right now.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I'm getting good practice.
And then you eventually, get into the Kingsman where your head explodes. Yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah, that was good. That was awesome. We're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think that's him.
Yeah, that was Mark. And
that movie was already amazing, and then they just kept taking it up and taking it up the whole time.
I was just sitting there and I'm like, he's doing a British Joker.
He really was.
It was the Joker's voice, but with a British accent. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
I don't think a lot of times we go to movies and we don't look at IMDb because we don't want to we don't want to read the reviews and kind of have.
I don't blame you.
You know what I mean? And so I had absolutely no idea that he was going to be in it, and a couple of other people as well. And so we start watching it, and it's like,
oh my gosh,
oh
it's
my
the guy
gosh.
from Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, no, it's just everybody. It was such a good movie.
Well, and then to hear Samuel L. Jackson with the weird lisp.
It was hilarious.
And he's like
he could
this
have said anything.
uber
We were
nerd.
laughing.
Yeah, it was hilarious. But this movie has kind of pulled Mark Hamill out because now he's going to be playing the trickster on The Flash again because he was in the original TV series and he's playing the same character.
We love The Flash.
Oh, I'm so excited. There's actually a rumor going around that Tom Welling will be showing up as Clark Kent in the next season.
Yeah, yep, he told me that the other day.
If that happens, oh my gosh, awesome.
Can we get Michael as Lex Luthor as well? We just want
Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, maybe
bring everyone back.
There.
I don't know. I do know that.
I know we're not getting Kevin Spacey. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. He did a pretty good job. And actually, we talked about that. I think it was on last week's show where it would be kind of funny if on one of the episodes where, in House of Cards, where he's Frank Underwood, he just like pulls his hair off and it's bald, and he's like, "Yeah, this was all planned. I'm actually Lex Luthor." That would be a really cool dreamscape that they could do. But,
I think he would do it too. He is that kind of.
He would.
Humor.
He does
I
have
feel
that
like he
sense
would
of humor.
totally do it.
I mean, because he was in one of these shooter games, voicing as the president as Frank Underwood. So that would be really cool. I don't know. I do know that Stan Lee did say that Michael Rosenbaum is the best portrayal of Lex Luthor he's ever seen.
I think just again because he adds a human side to him.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, I love Kevin Spacey, and I didn't not like Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
I love Kevin Spacey all the time. I just didn't love the rest of that film.
No, I think Michael did a much better job as Lex. He's
the right age. He's younger.
He's my favorite Lex Luthor. I've got to interview him. It was awesome.
I heard.
Jealous.
Jealous.
Oh, and Bruce Campbell leaned on my shoulder. He video bombed that interview. It was awesome. Go check it out.
We definitely will.
Yeah.
Daniel.
It was
with hatred in our heart.
Seriously, I'm sitting here interviewing Michael because he asked us to meet him outside the photo booth. So I feel this pressure on my shoulder. I'm like, oh crap, security's gonna pull me. So I'm like, okay, this interview's over. And the guy leans over and he's like, yeah, I invented the internet. And starts going off. I'm like, who the heck is this guy? And I look over and it's Bruce freaking Campbell. And then then him and Michael Rosenbaum start getting in a fake fist fight on camera. And it's like, couldn't have planned this any better. It was awesome. But no, Michael is hilarious. So, all right. So we got a few minutes left. So if you win, they offer you the job, and they say, okay, who do you want to cast in your Star Wars movie? Because they're going to let you do Knights of the Old Republic. Ugh. And because it's Disney, they have a huge, huge mountain of money, and you can get anyone on your movie. Who would you go for? Who would be your top 3 actors?
Oh, my
or actresses?
Gosh, that's a big question. Okay,
it is.
Revan. We'll start with Revan. We need someone decent height.
Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender. He's a bit big.
I like him.
Michael Fassbender can be Malik. How about that?
Okay.
That would work, actually.
Yeah,
Michael Fassbender
that.
is Malik.
He can do bald.
Maybe Jude Law as Revan, perhaps.
Gosh.
I like Jude Law.
You hurt my heart.
I like Jude Law.
Okay.
He's fantastic.
Only in Road to Perdition.
Yeah. And Bastila. Who would you have as Bastila? I like the chick from S.H.I.E.L.D. What's her name? The
one that plays...
The one in the Avengers, the one that's the right-hand man to...
she's a
Nick
little
Fury?
too old.
The one that's Nick...
she's a little old.
She's also in... what was that TV series?
You all know what we're talking about, right, listeners? Please call it 1-800. Let us know who we're talking about.
She was in How I Met Your Mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one, yeah.
I know who you're... Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember her name.
She's a little too old. We would have...
Awesome for 90 seconds. We're almost out of time. All right. Well...
As long as Michael Fassbender's involved.
Turn that down just a little bit so it doesn't come across because it's going to say it again.
I'll plug my crew really quick.
Go right ahead.
Everybody that was involved in Knights of the Old Republic, you guys are the reason why it happened. All of the people that donated in our Indiegogo account, thank you so much. We hope to work with them, and we hope another Knights of the Old Republic movie. As much as I deny it, we will be back.
Yes,
I'm pretty
we will.
sure.
You have to let me know. All right, so we're down to the last minute. So go to StarWars.com, find Knights of the Old Republic Broken Souls, watch it, and vote for it. Or just vote for it. Don't watch it. I don't care. Either way.
You guys can even wait for the director's cut. It's even better.
But
yeah,
definitely vote for it so these guys win, so they can get the props and then maybe film the next actual Knights of the Old Republic movie and have the buckets of money behind them so they can do this.
Help us make it bigger and better.
But not only that, they can win this awesome award, and so they can make more, really. We're all Star Wars fans. Go out, vote for them, tell your friends, tell your family, make everyone vote for them because this is the film you're looking for. I know that was kind of lame. Yeah.
We're losing votes, Daniel.
No, all right. So we're out of here. We'll catch you next time. And with that, good night, world. Good night, Salt Lake. And get more from your games and vote for Broken Souls.
We are not yet finished.